So, would you guys want to start? How long have you guys been homeschooling?
We've been homeschooling.
I'll
We
give you
just
this.
finished our 4th year of
Oh,
homeschooling.
so you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, we've been in our house. We had definitely been doing it for a while, but I'm excited to see how that's going to change, like the dynamics of homeschooling in your home as compared to on the road.
Yeah.
You know, just the travel days or the, you know, just getting out and being able to see the things up close and you know, like actually be more tangible for them. I think it's going to be different than just sitting at home doing bookwork or, you know, just that kind of aspect of homeschooling.
Yeah.
It's even going to be different.
Totally. I think that was a huge fear of, well, I don't think it was so much a fear, but it was just like, you worry so much, like, how is that going to work? And I think you have expectations of what you think it's going to be. And then when we first got out, then I was like, well, all that is out the door. Everything I expected we'd get done, because I just thought, oh, we're going to journal more and we're going to go and hike and collect all these things and everything's going to be like the perfect science projects and stuff. And then it was like, no, none of that's happening. I'm failing in every way.
So that's the tip. Don't do it.
Don't.
But that's a failure.
Great things about homeschooling is you get to adjust your curriculum
Yes.
Yeah.
to what you're doing
Right.
and to what's working.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So
what's not working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think then it was like, okay, everything I thought really was not going to happen. And then I got rid of more books because I was like, we're not using any of these. And now it's completely different.
Yeah,
than,
talk about like that progression for you.
So when we were at home, it was every day. I was very scheduled. Like they sat down, they started, you know, with math every day. And it was much more like a classroom. And then I think I knew it would change a lot when we started traveling. So I did get rid of tons of stuff and I was trying to make it as simple as possible. But then I was like, I don't know why it was so difficult to still like have them sit down and do stuff. Like it just wasn't going to work at all. And traveling days, it was like, you know, we just skipped 2 days of schoolwork. And at
Then
first
you feel
it was,
guilty and like,
yeah,
oh, they're
it just
getting
made it
behind.
so, yeah. And that was the thing. I was like, they're just, you know, getting behind. And then I just started reading lots of blogs and stuff of moms that, you know, had done this. And really, I started getting more on the side of unschooling than to sit there and do regular homeschooling, or they call it roadschooling, whatever it is.
Talk about like the
Yeah.
difference where people are like, what?
What do you mean
You're
the
crazy.
difference of
Well, 'cause
just
some
what we do
people-
now, or?
Of what like unschooling is.
'Cause some
Well,
people
I think
that
it's-
just like you
yeah.
don't do
You don't do
anything.
anything.
Yeah.
No. And that's not, I think that our kids have learned more because I'm so much more relaxed with it. Like I don't feel like I'm stressed anymore about making sure that they're checking off the boxes of what they have to get done. I think I'm much more free on like everything as a learning experience. We're learning, I feel like, all day long instead of just the 4 hours that we were sitting down allotted that time to homeschool or whatever. So I think museums and all that, like everything we do, we are asking questions and we're having them read about every place that we go. And
So the natural progression that we've seen for full-timers is that they start worrying about school. That's like the second worry after money, which we might talk about. But especially if you're coming from public school, I think that is a big hurdle because you're starting homeschooling. And most people who start homeschooling, we found, tend to make homeschooling as close to public school as they could, or whatever school environment they came from.
Yep.
They try to just do that at home.
Yeah.
We're always like, because we did the same thing. And we're like, why did we
Yeah.
do that? Well, like we wanted something different, but we tried to make it exactly what it was.
it was just public school at home.
Yeah,
It was
exactly, pretty
totally-
much.
Yeah.
So then you kind of ease off that a little bit and go into like another stage of just a little more lax. You start to like maybe shorten the hours a little bit and realize maybe we don't need to do all this paperwork. And then like for full-timers who go into the RV, what we've seen is most people tend to eventually to the unschooling side, which is just you get rid of most of the books and most, if not all of the paperwork, and school just becomes life. And so school, it's not like you're never doing school, it's just that learning is always happening.
Yeah. I think it's like, yeah, like you said, it's school all the time. And I think it's so different in the way that I think we try to use everything that's going on as a learning lesson
yeah.
or,
And
you know,
well,
how
it
can
is,
you?
naturally.
Yes, it is. But I think that you know, you totally don't think of that at home. Like when anything you're billing or whatever at home, you don't think, well, this could be a learning lesson. Get all the kids out here, and it's
But
like,
not even that, like, because we found that kids will learn what they need to learn. Like, we're not worried that our kids aren't going to read.
Of course there are basics,
Yeah, sure.
different, like with math and that kind of thing. It's like, yes, there are basics that your children need to know. They're not just going to learn that on their own just by camping, like just.
I learned arithmetic from campfire logs. Right.
I counted rocks.
Yes.
Yes, so I think we're not totally unschoolers in the way that
Well, but,
there are definitely things. I don't want people being like, their kids aren't going to know anything. It's like, we believe, yes, there are definitely basics that children need to know. But I think we make it so complicated thinking that it has to be done a certain way. And
for every kid.
yes, and I think that we now are much more relaxed in letting kids have the freedom to learn.
And to learn, like, this lifestyle just lends itself to putting your kids in different environments that may spark an interest in them that you didn't even know was there. And so with this lifestyle, you're able to really reinforce that, because that might be something in your kids that they just love. And that natural desire for learning is just like upped like crazy. So they're wanting to consume so much. And it's so easy nowadays because information's free and it's everywhere and it's accessible. So we're not so concerned about teaching like facts or what is the word? Like, I guess just not information. What do you get online?
I don't know what you're trying to
I don't know. What you get online?
that math stuff.
You don't need that math stuff. But there's like, I guess, information. Is that what it is? Is that fancy word for learning? Information. Our kids are like on track. Yes, I think that is what I was trying to say. Information is free and cheap.
She said useless.
I said useless.
There we go. It's everywhere.
That is it.
So we're not trying to cram that down their throats. We're just trying to like create that desire for them to learn, because they'll go out and learn it.
Yes.
Well, and I think too that there is a lot of the time
She
that
has
can.
Oh,
mic
whoa, I forgot. We've double mic'd this thing, by the way.
I
Yeah.
think that,
We
if you
learn
see
how.
something that your child is interested in, maybe, how you guys talked about one of your kids loved the solar system aspect of it. They can have that time to then research it more
Yes.
Right.
than they would get in the school system or even in homeschool sometimes. If you're just like, we've got to get through these books in order to be done with the school year.
And it was
Yes.
birthed out of that
Yeah.
excitement, so they're ready to consume it
Right,
and they want
exactly.
to consume it.
Yeah.
Totally.
So that they then
Right.
grasp it better and they retain the information better, and it's
Yeah.
something that they want to then share with other people because it's
Yeah.
an interest to them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally.
So
And I think, like she was saying, the hands-on, I think it's so difficult, I think, to explain to your child, when you're talking about the stars or the moon. And I mean, there's just no way that in a book that they can really grasp,
Or even history is a big one
yeah,
too. Like,
history is a
history's a
huge
big
one. And
one.
I think
Yeah.
when you actually go to somewhere that has something that they can
touch,
tangible
experience,
in their
and
hands.
connect to a life
yeah,
moment.
then it's a total, it just sparks so much more in their mind. And I think even how much we've learned, I think,
Oh yeah.
I
brilliant
love
now.
history, and I think, gosh, all the history books I've learned more about the Revolutionary War and everything just being there. And I mean, it's just
Seeing it
like,
firsthand,
yeah, it is so different. And so I think that is just, you can't put that in a book. You can't.
So I would say if you're interested in this lifestyle, it's not like your kids are going to miss out. I think it's actually a rich experience that they
Yes.
won't get in other ways or might miss out on. I think it's a benefit
yeah.
instead of like a holdup, because it is a holdup from a lot of parents. It's
I think a lot of parents, that's one of their biggest things is that they'll stay in a location that their child still just goes to school, that they
Oh,
live
yeah.
in a trailer, and that they will,
yeah.
only move when their child goes to a different grade.
Talk about comparing too, like we were talking about.
Yeah, you can
Comparing
take that
things.
here.
yeah, we were talking about how the importance that we can't compare kids to kids, school kids to school kids, or homeschool kids to homeschool kids. Like there is a big difference between each and every child and how they learn or how they process information even,
Right.
just like there's just such a difference that even siblings, you can't compare siblings to siblings, as you have your kids, and just finding the things that they are so intrigued by that they can then just learn so much better, I think,
Yeah.
when they're into it. So
Yeah.
Tell them about like your. Tell them about that. Tell them about that thing.
Yes.
About how, like, as a mom, the stages you go through where you doubt yourself and feel like because you're comparing your
Yeah.
kids to other.
Right.
'cause
Definitely. I think we were even laughing the other night at the campfire, and this one family, we know that they had just pulled their kids out of public school to do this, and the fear I think that you have at first, and it's like you're so worried that your child's going to be behind. That's the big thing, that they're not going to grasp, and that you're failing them in some way. And I think that mommy guilt that you have, and every mom has it, every parent, is like you're so worried. And I think now I don't know where I was going with that. What
Well,
was it?
you do because you're comparing your kids to
Yes.
a predefined system that's set up
Right.
in place,
Right.
rather than just looking at what your kid is naturally going to be interested in.
Right. Yeah, you have, that's the thing. I think when you spend more time with your child, the things that they're good at, the things that they're interested in, what they love to do. And I think,
Well, like you were saying, like Zealand, how he wasn't reading at the same level as,
right.
but that wasn't like the story.
Why
Tell 'em about
don't
that
you
story.
just say
Because
it?
you're better at it.
I
like
know,
that mom
but-
who talked to you and was like,
You can tell that it's both our child. You can say
She
the
has
same
these 3 kids, and they are terrors.
My goodness. Oh my goodness.
Well, okay.
can just
So
say.
her, um, this lady, I don't even know who it was. I don't know the context.
I hate the camera.
Yeah, I know. So we're married. We have 3 kids. And stop laughing at me.
Thank goodness for editing.
Yeah. So our 2 youngest kids, not 3, our 2 youngest kids, I don't teach them, by the way. They read at a really early age, and they had a natural hunger to learn how to read, so it was easy. Our youngest son, Zealand, didn't. He didn't care.
He's in his own world about everything. Zealand, I think I could never have put him in public school. I think they would have said he had ADD, probably learning disabilities, because he just...
Hope he doesn't watch this and is like, oh.
I don't know why. I just believe so highly in him. But he just was different. If you've ever seen... It just
You're
makes
special, Z. You're our special kid.
I know. Every time I think of the movie The Fox, what is it? And they say he's different.
Yeah, the incredible Mr. Fox.
Yeah, have you guys seen that?
I hear it's really good. It's so good.
It's very funny. But he just wasn't. I would say he's very much more artistic than the other 2, and we started reading at 5, and he was just not into it at all. And then I tried again at 6, and then I tried again at 7, and he
didn't even care.
No, it was a struggle. I would bring out the book that had the phonics and stuff in it, and I immediately
Hold on, I gotta just stop. Keep your thought going.
So he just hated it in every way, and so I just thought, this is just going nowhere. And again, I'm failing him. I'm not a good teacher. And I had this mom that I had met who was a full-timer, and she had 6 kids, and she just told me, she's like, just stop, just take a step back, don't keep forcing him, because he's going to end up hating it. And she just said, wait until he asked you. There's no, I think us as parents, we put a time, at 6 months they're crawling. Oh, my child's not crawling. And,
but our culture does.
Yes.
That.
And I think, moms get together and they're constantly saying, well, my child walked at 8 months and my child. And so, I'm like, he's 7 years old. He's not reading. And I'm feeling so guilty. And so she was just like, there's not a time card of when children are supposed to do something. We make that up ourselves, and we set us in that box of feeling bad about it. And so she said that she had children read at 5 and 6, and then she had a child that didn't read till he was 12, where he was able to really read on his own and liked it. And so
she said now he loves it.
Yeah.
She forced it
and
earlier
so
on.
So she just said, wait till he'll come to you and, be more interested in it. So I did. I put it down, and it was like 6 months, and we just did not do anything. And I would read to him all the time, let him pick the books and everything. And then one day we were in a Barnes and Nobles, and he was looking at these books and stuff. And then he came to me and he said, I want to read all these books. And I said, on your own, or you want to, have me read them? And he was like, I want to read them on my own. And that was the first time that he had ever asked, like, he wanted to read. He was excited about it. And that was the first time, like, he went home and had his book, and he was trying to, read the words and sounding them out. And so I was like, okay, she was right. And, it's a process. I mean, it's not like he's still, like, just reading huge books yet, but he's starting to, and he's liking it, and it's not so much of a struggle. And so I think that's a big thing that I've learned as a mom, is just to step back and to know that they may not be ready for something when you think they're ready, that they will know when they're ready to do something, instead of us forcing them to be ready when we think, because society says at 8 years old, if they don't read, then you have a dumb child.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
I don't know if you've ran into anything like that.
Yeah, we have a child too that he really struggles to read, and I've probably pushed him more just because I was like, this is what you got to do. You got to read.
Mm-hmm.
Just the pressures of that society being, that I put upon myself of making him do it. And it was a struggle day after day, year after year of him doing it. And he will still say to this day that he does not like reading.
Yeah.
It's just something that he doesn't enjoy doing. His brother loves to read, and he sees him reading all the time, and he's like, why are you reading again? Like, he just doesn't get it. He doesn't want
dumb.
to. Yeah, he doesn't want to read. So
Yeah.
I would definitely say that if we had waited, I think, and not pushed it down on him and shoved it down his throat so much, that he probably would be today a better reader and a desire to read, as compared to no desire to read.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, and I think that's totally what we're finding out, and it's happening in every subject, which is something that I don't think we ever thought if we pulled back, then they would start like, okay, I want to learn about this and ask all these questions, and just how much more fun it is for us to teach them and for them to learn. And I think now we do so much more as a family, of asking questions and them answering, and it's just... We do so many games now in the car. The kids are like, give us math questions or whatever. And I'm like,
oh, yeah. I hate that game.
Because they beat him every time.
Yeah, it makes me feel terrible about myself. The other thing I would say that this lifestyle brings you that you may not have as much in like a traditional educational environment, sounded pretty good, is that because you're traveling and visiting these different places, you're able to attach experiences to a learning or a subject or something that your kids are learning, rather than it just being from a book or facts they have to remember or memorize for a test. They're able to remember a family experience and a memory that also like either caused them to want to learn something, or they did learn something there. And it's something that could definitely, I think, stick with them and be something that even cause them to decide what they want to do with their life, which is super cool.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because I think so often, even public school, homeschool, any type of thing where you're doing tests, they're just learning for the test.
Right.
And then as soon as that test is over,
totally
that
gone.
Information is gone, and they're not even caring about it anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas, I think it's a big difference where you're, like you're saying, placing that life experience with something that they're learning. They're going to remember that way better as compared to just...
Hence the TV show, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
Yes.
Right.
Kind of proves our point.
It's so true.
Great point.
And I was just going to say, like, how many of you remember what you studied in high school?
Or
like,
college.
I cannot remember anything. I just don't.
I actually have learned more homeschooling the kids
Yes.
than I ever did actually in school.
Right.
And there's things that I read, I'm like, I don't remember learning that at all.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason isn't just that you're an adult and can process it better, but you're approaching it differently because you want to. You want to teach it to your kids. It's that desire that is so important.
Yeah.
And I think also, like, in math, I struggled with math so much in junior high. I hated it. And now that I've gone back with Erica and stuff, and it's like, now I'm like, why did I not ever understand this? Like, it's so simple. It's just, but I'm like, now that I can learn it on my own in my own way, it's like so different.
There's not pressure on you to get a
Yes.
good grade.
Yeah,
Right.
You know?
right.
Like that's not on you anymore. Of you're able to get it now. You know,
Yeah.
because that
Yeah.
pressure's gone too.
Cool.
Right now.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Should we stop there?
Yeah.
That was good. That was a ton of